episode 128 of Nerd Pod Generations. As always, I am one of your illustrious, well, I don't want to say as always because I missed last week, but I am one of your illustrious hosts, Steve Taylor, along with the lovely Al Jepson.
Hello, friends and enemies.
It's good to see you, buddy.
We're doing it again.
We had a week.
Oh,
I don't even want to bring up what it was. It was a family
matter.
Last week. Craziness.
Yeah,
but we're back.
We did it. We made it.
We made it.
And it was a bonkers week for everybody involved. A lot of stuff happening, a lot of moving parts, but we made it.
Yes.
It's the kind of week where we spent 3 weeks talking about like how great it is to record earlier on a Sunday.
Yeah, I know.
And it's 8 o'clock because it's just so hard.
I had to take everyone bowling. Next week we're going to be hopefully doing like a 5 o'clock show because I actually am working Sunday for the first time in a while.
Oh.
But I have the 5 a.m. inventory on Monday, so I'll probably come in right from work to here, so it'll be like a 5 o'clock recording.
Yeah, that's fine.
I don't even know what the hell
You're going to get off at like 4 and then go back in at 5 a.m.?
Yeah.
That sucks.
You know what? It sounds like it sucks, but I have those memories of working at a restaurant where I got out at 2 a.m. and had to be back at 6 a.m.
Yeah, the full turn and burn.
Where I just slept in my car in the parking lot.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is...
comparatively,
just
more tolerable.
Getting up at 3:30 sucks.
Yeah.
It just sucks. Anyway, so folks, we are back 100%. We have a lot to talk about today.
Oh my God.
Maybe not as much as... We have a plan B in case plan A doesn't go as long as we think it will. We're just going to stick with plan A.
We got a runway. We got like an hour and change long runway.
Yes.
And we think we're going to use all of it.
I think so, too.
And then the show we had planned that we've been kind of hinting at.
It's kind of like the James Bond show.
Well, it's funny that it's Groundhog's Day.
Yes,
I think it's incredibly apropos that it's Groundhog's Day. But that is its own like hour-long show, so if we end up going over an hour, we might not go all the way in on Mr. Murray and
so we'll figure that out. But it's I'm grateful that you did a football show talking about the Super Bowl because
you didn't have to watch the Super Bowl.
My niece desperately wanted a Super Bowl party. Mm-hmm. So I went to my brother's house. So I had to watch the first half, which I was not happy that I did because I really didn't want to watch that game. Mm-hmm. But then I didn't watch anything else. I know who won because it's impossible to live without knowing who won. I didn't pay attention to anything else. You know, it's like I'm grateful that you were able to talk about it because I mean all I did see was a lot of the commercials, which is what we're going to be talking about.
That's actually the big part of the show this week is we got a lot of... Did we start this show based on superhero news? Because we're getting back to our roots.
Oh my God. There's so much superhero news. So the main topic and segment that we're probably going to be talking about is what we've been watching, playing, reading, which we're just going to include a lot of the trailers. Before we get into that, I just wanted to bring up two things. One, Tears of the Kingdom is officially my favorite game ever. I keep playing that game, and my goal now is to get all the shrines so you get the special armor.
Kelly did that.
Yes, so that's my goal now. And as I'm going, I have probably 120, 130 hours into this game. I'm shocked that I'm still finding shit that I had no idea.
Yeah.
And it's like last night, I unlocked, I can't even remember what the hell it was. I was playing with my son, and I'm like, how did I not know this was here?
Yeah.
Like, I'm finding shit that I had no idea existed.
Yeah.
And it's like, I've been putting 100 hours in this game, and I'm pretty thorough. Like, I go through each
yeah.
thing. And I have pure joy with this game, and I'm so grateful for it, and I'm very happy for it, and I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, I've taken a nice long break. I got to go back to it at some point. Right now I'm treating it kind of like Scott Pilgrim.
Okay.
When I first saw Scott Pilgrim, I loved it so much that I watched it with a bunch of different people. Mm. So I saw it like 6 times in 5 weeks or something like that, and after that I needed a little break.
Yeah.
So I didn't hate that movie, and Tears of the Kingdom, I enjoy it. I still have my gripes with it, but I do want to go back and see if when there's less at stake, if those gripes are as heavily indented in my brain, in my experience.
Well, I guess the best way to describe my love for it is I never want to finish it.
Yeah.
I just want to keep playing it.
I knew a lot of people that had that experience with Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
Where they just kept on putting off actually finishing the game.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever finish it, to be honest with you. I'm just having so much fun just running around doing shit.
Yeah.
Like, it really is. It's stupid fun. The only thing I want to talk about is I'm a big fan of Reacher. So, for those of you who don't know, Jack Reacher was a Lee Childs, I believe, is the author.
I always thought it was Tom Clancy. I'm going to be fully honest with you.
Tom Cruise did...
He played a version of the character.
He did the movies actually called Jack Reacher. He did 2 of them. The first one I actually really liked. The second one, not so much. The big gripe... Lee Child was the author. The big gripe was he was not the right size.
He's very much not the right size.
Well, let me tell you, they found the right size.
Yeah, they did.
Alan Ritchson is and for those of you who might not know who he is, he was in the last Fast and the Furious movie, and he's going to be in that movie we talked about with
Ungentlemanly Warfare.
Ungentlemanly Warfare. The first season was good. It was it had a little bit of a feeling of like a TV series. Like I kind of wanted to get more of a cinematic vibe.
Okay.
Second season got that.
Oh, okay.
And what I appreciated about the second season is, yes, he is a detective, but he's known also for bashing people's heads in. Yeah. And this season laid into the 80s action movie tropes.
He's a detective like Jim Hopper is a detective.
Pretty much.
This is my first question. Bam. Here's my second question. Bam.
Well, like one of his lines, a little girl, like her mom and her were on the run from the bad guys, and she asked him, well, what are you going to do when you find him? He's like, well, we're going to kill more people. And he says it just like his whole thing is the basis of this season is he was part of this. He ran this unit in the Army. It was an investigation unit, and 2 of the people in the unit were killed in the same way. And it seemed like they were knocking off people in the unit. So him and 3 members of his unit that were still alive get together, and they start investigating what happened. And once they realize who the bad guys are, his mentality is, great, now I'm going to kill every single one of them for hurting my friends and going after me. Yeah. And it's, there are some smart moments, but there's a lot of just really cool beating up people moments. Yeah. So it's like, I get that little bit of the action movie, and he's great.
I mean, part of the fun of Predator is when they go into that guerrilla camp. Like, that's part of the fun. That has nothing to do.
Has nothing to do with it.
It has nothing to do with anything that's going on, except that we need to find out about the deceit of Dylan. Yeah. And otherwise, it has nothing to do with anything.
It has one of the best lines in the movie when Arnold Schwarzenegger sticks the knife through the guy and says, "Stick around." It's like, that is the best thing I've ever heard right there.
I'll never get over, I ain't got time to bleed.
Oh, that's right. Well, you got time to duck. Great story. This is a nice little tangent. I heard a story from Jesse Ventura that he would go into the wardrobe every day, and they had written on the wall like the body part sizes of all the actors to kind of figure out. And Arnold had talked the woman into making his arms a little smaller than Jesse Ventura's on the sheet. So Jesse Ventura once was bragging to him during the filming of the movie, and Schwarzenegger says, "I'll bet you a couple bottles of champagne that mine are bigger." And they measured him, and Arnold's was like 2 inches bigger, and he's like, I got you. So
also,
I love
that way
story.
you get tighter shirts.
Well, that too. Yeah. Well, that too. And that red shirt he was wearing when they did the famous handshake.
Yeah. The son of a bitch.
That thing was fucking tight as shit. But yeah, so Reacher, great show. Like I said, the first season was a little more cerebral. It is still really good, and I love this guy. Like, I absolutely love this actor. I'm really invested in, and I've seen interviews with him, and I'm really invested in more stuff that he's done. He just actually did Jimmy Fallon? Him and his wife were on a date, and some guy came out of a car with these duffel bags, and he's like, I think that dude broke into that car and stole, and he ran by them. So she's like, don't. He's like, I got to. And so he ran after the dude, and when he caught up to the guy, they were running, and the guy balled his fist, and he's like, dude, don't. And the guy swung, and he grabbed him and threw him into a wall, and he stopped the dude. He stopped the robbery. But it's like, if you saw this man, I don't care if he's an actor, I would not poke the bear. No. Literally. Because he is a monster.
If he is an actor, that means he's being trained by really professional people how to hurt someone without actually hurting someone. Yes. Because when you're a stunt fighter, you're never actually trying to hurt someone, but you still got to make it look like you could hurt someone.
Exactly.
And, throwing a person into a wall, real easy to do at full speed.
Yeah. Stunt guy would know how to roll out of it. This guy did not.
This guy didn't.
But yeah, so I'm a big fan. I just wanted to bring that up. I know those aren't things we usually talk about, but
It's in that wheelhouse.
it is. It's and I'll be honest, the last like 2 seasons of Jack Ryan, which I did like the first couple seasons on Amazon, man, they kind of jumped the shark. So seeing a different show in that same kind of vein, I am enjoying it.
I think it's super telling that because I also agree with you. I really liked the first season of Jack Ryan. I liked the second season. I thought they were still very strong, very close to what they were trying to do. And then third season kind of started moving away. We had a whole show about how like he stopped being an analyst and he started being a man of action. And it's like, well, that's the thing about Jack Ryan is that he's an analyst. He's not supposed to be a man of action. And I haven't watched season 4 yet. And I think that's extremely telling.
We watched 1 episode and I was like, I kind of sucked. And then we have never gone back.
Yeah. So someday.
Yeah.
Someday I will.
Who
But
knows?
in the same way that someday I did end up seeing the Chris Pine Jack Ryan movie, it just took a really, really long time for me to get there.
And it wasn't bad. Like I liked it better
bad.
than the Ben Affleck one.
Yeah, I think I like them about the same.
Yeah.
I think they're about on par. I like the Ben Affleck one just because they have the guts to blow up a nuke in Baltimore.
Yeah.
I think that's really like we were talking about bold moves in film before the show started. I think that's a really bold move to actually have the nuke go off.
Yeah.
But I don't like Kevin Costner and the
No.
Chris Pine. I think he's terribly miscast. He should not be there. I didn't mind Kenneth Branagh, and
I thought he was all right.
I don't know if Kenneth Branagh also directed it or not, but like
I think he did.
I think he did too.
Yeah.
I liked it just fine. I definitely got to the end of it and I was like, I want a little more out of this. And Hunt for Red October, I remember so many small details.
I fucking love that movie.
I don't remember an ounce of the plot.
Oh, it's such a great movie.
Ghost Protocol or whatever. No, that was a Mission Impossible movie.
It's Mission Impossible.
Whatever.
My favorite is Patriot Games. Patriot Games is one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
Because Harrison Ford is so good in it, and I love Samuel L. Jackson, and just the story, and Sean Bean, of course, dies because he has to.
I just love the moment where Han Solo wags a finger aggressively at Dumbledore.
Oh, that's right.
Because that's Richard Harris.
That is Richard Harris. When you said Dumbledore, I'm like, Gambone was it? Oh, that's right.
I will make it my mission.
Fucking love that.
Oh,
fucking
so
love that. It's so good.
good.
Yeah, no, that's a movie that unfortunately a lot of people haven't seen. Oh, dude, heartbreaking. Yeah. I am working now. He might even listen to this. And Johnny, shout out to you. A new coordinator, so it's like an assistant manager type thing at the cheese department. It's this 20-year-old kid. I really like his name's Johnny. This kid has no shit about movies. He hasn't. Okay, here's the extra. I asked him if he's ever seen Pulp Fiction, and he goes, "I know of Tarantino." I was like,
"You know of Tarantino?"
He's only seen Kill Bill Volume 1, and I'm just like, "Dude, you're breaking every ounce of my heart."
Hey, you remember when you met me and I hadn't seen any Tarantino, and our friend loaned me a bunch of Tarantino movies, and I watched like Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction and just a bunch of these early Tarantino movies like in a week-long span.
Yes.
I came back to class the next week and I was like, well, that was the thing. That's a lot.
That'll open your eyes to a lot of shit.
I'll never get over. I still to this day think when things are going badly in video games of Harvey Keitel. You're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay. Tell it to me. Say it back. You're gonna be okay.
Well,
I'm gonna be okay.
This summer's the 30th anniversary of Pulp Fiction.
Really?
30th.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You believe that shit?
I do.
30 effing years.
Yeah. No, it changed the game.
Still blows my mind.
Yeah.
And I still, to this day, when you watch that opening credits, that movie was made because of Danny DeVito.
Yep.
One of the producers.
Yep.
It's like, I love Danny DeVito.
I know. Danny DeVito, the secret sauce of
really
Hollywood for the last 40 years.
Shout out to Death to Smoochie, which is one of the more underrated comedies. I fucking love that movie.
Oh man, I've never been able to make it all the way through Death to Smoochie.
No,
it's just too many. It's too many hats on too many hats on too many hats.
Robin Williams, one of my favorite Robin Williams movies. He's so fucking out of his mind in that movie.
He's too out of his mind.
You don't even see the end then. That's even more out of his mind.
I know.
He's kind of like Schmeagol at the end, where he has the
seen
golem
that scene.
still inside
I've
of.
seen that
he
scene
burns
where
his
he's
nuts.
talking to himself, and no, it's a whole thing. It's like out of that or Fisher King, I'll take Fisher King. Thank you very much.
Oh wow, yeah. I mean, come on.
Same
now.
conceit, different tone.
Fisher King is a true masterpiece where you know, Death to Smoochie's kind of up there with
Death to
Zohan
Smoochie
with
is
me.
Death
You know,
to
it's like,
Smoochie.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
Edward Norton's a fucking purple rhino, for Christ's
Yeah.
sake. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
come on now. I mean, what are you gonna do about
With
that?
dick cookies and.
Oh my god, it's a rocket ship! I fucking love that. Okay, we're gonna stay on target. Like they say in Star Wars, stay on target.
Stay on target.
All right,
Almost there. Stay
so-
on target. I can't hold him. I've been continuing through Baldur's Gate.
Oh, nice.
It has been an interesting experience.
I heard it was patched. Is it still as glitchy?
It's still very glitchy.
Still very glitchy.
There,
okay.
there are some elements that seem different. The text in the books is bigger, so it's easier to read when you pick up books.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, that's something. But I still had that moment that all developers dread. I got to a cutscene.
Mm.
It was a story cutscene that you have to sit through, and there's a woman guard basically telling you can't enter this town because there's too many refugees, and we are tired of vagrants, and we don't think you're going to be able to be an upstanding citizen. And so you have to kind of try and negotiate your way in town. And then this big robot comes up and is like, your brain scan is weird. I'm going to arrest you, and you can either fight her or you can get arrested. Thing about this, though, the guard that you have to talk to at the very beginning to start all of this action, her face had like a, you know, in the Nolan Dark Knight, you know, Two-Face, where you can see his teeth. So she had that, and you could just see her teeth going through her skin, and then her cheek, where it should have been, was going all the way to the horizon in the opposite direction. And I reloaded this scene at least 4 times trying to get the dialogue just where I wanted it, and because I got caught stealing stuff after the fight and all these other things, so I was like, okay, I'll just redo the fight again. It wasn't a big deal. But I kept on having to restart it, and every single time it did that. And I was just like, this is a scene that you have to sit through in order to get through the story of the game. How did this not get caught by now?
That's amazing.
So I like it for certain things. It's still a glitchy mess at times. And then it did the one thing that I just cannot abide by.
What's that?
Which is I got to the 3rd chapter of the game, and they hadn't done it in a big serious way.
Okay.
But they officially made it so I can't go to any of the locations from the first 2 acts of the game.
Okay.
So you have all these waypoints that you set up throughout the first 2 acts, and there's a bunch of other side missions and things. And at some point, they're like, hey, you're about to enter this new area. Just FYI, some of the missions aren't going to be doable anymore. And I'm like, okay, you know, whatever, I understand. Well, apparently that includes just going back in general. You can't go back there to go to any shops. You can't go back there to revisit any people you met. You can't go back there to talk to family members of people you've saved who asked you to go and find them.
Oh, that's fucking stupid.
You can't go back and do, if you missed any secrets or anything that you wanted to get, you can't go back and do it because you're fully locked into this new chapter.
That's fucking dumb.
When I tried to go back earlier in the game, they were like, you're at a part in the story where you really can't go back right now, so we're going to make it so you can't go back and go to the previous section of the game. And I took that as like, oh, so once I'm done with this section, I will be able to. No. You are stuck. This is the track that you were on, and even if you wanted to go back and just visit the areas that you had gone to before, can't do it.
Yeah. Can't
do it. And it that just pisses me right off.
That's obnoxious.
Because it's just like, well, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What the fuck? What, like, I knew that this could happen, but I assumed I would still be able to go there. Even if I can't do the missions anymore, I still thought I was going to be able to go there.
I mean, you look at a game in the similar vein, Skyrim, that came out 15 years ago now.
Yeah.
You could revisit anything.
Exactly. They never locked you out of anywhere once you got there.
That's crazy that would happen in a game nowadays.
It's crazy to me that they would do this, that they would lock you out of not just like the beginning of the game tutorial area. They lock you out of the entire first 2 chapters of the game. You can't go back and do any of that stuff. If you wanted to go loot some stuff that you had left behind because you didn't have room for it, or you were worried about getting caught, and you just don't care anymore because you killed all those guys' bosses and you don't care if they fight you anymore, doesn't matter. You can't go back and do it. You want to go try and save these people that you had, you know, you missed a clue on. There was a little tiefling girl that I wanted to find that I didn't pick up one little tiny clue, which had no indicator that it was going to be important. It was she had an eye patch, and at one point in a fortress, I found a bunch of different things that were just like random assortments of junk, and one of them was an eye patch.
Okay.
Well, I was supposed to pick that up, and because I didn't, now that quest line is just kind of this hanging chad. And I'm like, I could just go back. No, you can't. We locked the door. Why? But why?
Can you imagine the frustrations of the people who created that content?
Yeah.
And wanted you to be able to revisit it?
Oh,
because
well, now
they
you just
spent
got to
all
replay the game. Just start the game again.
Who wants to fucking restart
I
that
know.
shit? Like I said, I love Tears of the Kingdom right now. Once I fucking finish this game, I don't know when I'm going to start it again.
That's the thing is, when are you going to go back and start it all over again? You can play it forever, but when are you going to go back and start it all over again?
Yeah.
Very rarely am I ever going
And
to
then
really
if you
go
do,
back.
you know you have that to look forward to. So what is the extra push to go
So
back and do
now I'm
it?
going to be more pedantic about going through every tiny little thing. And it's just going to completely change the tenor and style at which I play the game. So it's just like, is it a big deal? I guess in the grand scheme of things, it's not a big deal, but it's a really dumb decision.
That's really
that
dumb.
I don't understand. Like, it can't be like a game memory thing.
Yeah.
You know, making it so I can't go back to the first part of the game doesn't make the game any smaller. So what do you achieve by doing this? I fully can't understand it. You know, if I go to... I haven't been to California since I was 8 years old. I've lived a very long life since then. I can still go to California if I want to.
Yeah, you'd be free to.
Exactly. So, like, why am I not allowed to go back to this goblin palace to make sure there wasn't anything I missed?
That's fucked up, man.
It's bullshit.
That's really screwy.
It's bullshit. So the other thing I wanted to talk about before we get into trailers in earnest, me and Kelly went to see
the Eastman Film and Media Ensemble
perform La La Land in concert, which was a very interesting experience.
That sounds interesting.
I thought that it was going to be just them playing the music, and there was a moment where we were like, oh, it's a musical, but like there's really only a lot of parts for two people, and so how's that going to work? What it actually was, they show the entire movie.
I was wondering if they screened the movie.
They've removed all the background music, and they play all the music live.
Oh, interesting.
And what was interesting about it in terms of the performance. The performance was amazing. They had really great people, including a lot of professors, doing some really amazing work. It was a little strange because they had like what would you say, like a 12-person chorus, maybe?
8 people.
And they didn't have anything to do because they didn't take out the sections where Emma Stone or Ryan Gosling are singing.
Oh, weird.
They left those in. And so it was just any time more than one person was singing, you'd have this chorus start singing. But even at the beginning of the movie, that first number, when those solos are going on, those aren't being sung live. But then the interstitial moments between are being sung live.
Interesting.
It was an interesting choice. I don't, whatever. I don't know why you would do it that way, but whatever, it's fine. But man, I love that movie. It was really nice just to go back and watch it again and, just discover and pick up so many more new things that I had just not really thought about, in terms of how the characters develop and treat each other and behave. I'd always been more connected to Emma Stone's character because she's into movies, and I like music. It's not like I don't like music, but I'm not passionate about music. And so watching it this time and seeing kind of the progression of Ryan Gosling's character, and especially after they break up, and seeing like the way that he goes about things isn't the usual Hollywood, oh, I gotta get the girl back. He's just like, this is the right thing to do for a person I genuinely care about. And then when she gets the audition and everything, she's like, what's our relationship? And he says, we're breaking up. Like, I'm not gonna be the reason you don't get a chance to do the thing you want to do most. And it just, looking at so many movies that have come out since then, I mean, it was 7 years ago, which doesn't feel like a very long time, but also feels like an extremely long time.
A million years ago.
It just, like, I wish we saw this more. It was also very interesting after watching Barbie, where you have Ken doing all of his Ken things, and then you have Ryan Gosling here basically refuting everything that Ken believes. And it was a really nice thing to go back to. I hadn't seen it in a few years. It meant a lot to me when I first saw it, and it was one of my top 10 movies when it first came out. And while it's still within the top 20 maybe top 30. I just really love it. It just makes me so happy. And there's so many little homages to things, right down to the idea that they keep on bringing up Casablanca in little tiny vignette ways of just kind of like offhandedly mentioning it. And you don't really think about it at the end, but she goes into his gin joint. You know, of all the gin joints in the world, she walks into his. And it's just one more little thing. Plus, nothing will ever say old Hollywood, like shots of champagne glasses fully overflowing into each other. That says golden age of musicals right there to me.
Oh yeah, no, that's how you end a movie.
Yeah. So La La Land, good movie.
Sounds like fun.
Baldur's Gate, interesting decisions, not necessarily bad.
Still not game of the fucking year.
This is my thing, is that as good as it is at times, I don't think it's game of the year. I don't know what game of the year would have been, but I don't think it's this.
Well, you know what I think of it.
Yeah, Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
I did want to, before we go into trailers,
Okay.